You ready to go? Ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah, Rachel just emailed me a little bit ago. I don't know that with the minutes from last time, but I don't know. Has anybody heard from her? She did her.
I think Chris really like the allergies.
She didn't say she's not. So could you? I could send you the blank agenda.
I know.
Yeah,
I can do it.
I can take those minutes on the meeting you're running.
I can do the roll.
Oh, the roll.
Yeah. You ready to go?
I can take the roll.
Good evening. Welcome to the Greater Hilltop Area Commission, our full commission meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Getting started mostly on time. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. So we are going to start with just a roll call, and Leia's going to help us do that. Can you do that? That would be great.
Fagan.
Here.
White.
Here.
Sean Maddox.
Here.
Wenning. Here. Barnacle.
Here.
Bruno is here. Davis. Kifla. Josh Maddox.
Here.
Sean Paxton. Sorry, Josh Paxton.
Here.
Bates Fry.
Here.
Kepler.
Here.
Klein. Here. Moore.
Present.
Dallas.
Here. Good. Thank you. There are copies of the agenda here at the front table if anybody needs a copy. We'll also try to show it throughout the meeting, but I'm going to ask commissioners, are there any additions or deletions after you've had a chance to look at the agenda? Anything to add or delete? Any questions? Okay, hearing none, going to move on. Our secretary, Commissioner Winning, was able to get our minutes out today. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to review that. Have you had a chance to review them? Yeah, okay. So the minutes from our last meeting are there. We take the best minutes ever because we're actually, the whole meeting is streamed live on Facebook and it's recorded out there, but we need to keep some written minutes of the meeting. So those are sent to everybody. Is there any comments on the minutes at all from anybody on the commission? Okay, hearing none. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of our last meeting. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody disagree or opposed? Okay, thank you. Moving right along.
So I sent around the last meeting.
I did not see that. So we had tabled that meeting from August, those minutes we did not approve. So those were September. Yeah, September. We did not have those available. So those were sent out today. So I'm going to ask if anybody has any comments, any edits, any information about those minutes that they'd like to bring forward.
Motion to approve minutes from September.
Cool. All those in favor of approving September's minutes? Anybody opposed? All right. I will officially go back and read those. So I didn't vote, but I'll officially go back and read those because I did miss those. So.
If anyone finds any errors later, let me know. I'll still adjust it.
Okay. So we'll talk later on about our website. It's CBUS Area Commissions. It's up at the top. Copies of our minutes are uploaded there if anybody's interested in seeing those. They're there for every meeting that we have. So. Great, thanks. Team effort here. So we're on to the City of Columbus staff reports, and I know Sergeant Brophy is here to represent the Division of Police tonight. So thank you for coming up here and joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Here, so everybody can hear me. Try not to get too much feedback.
What was it?
I don't know. All right, so hopefully that's better. Good evening, everyone. Going back through just a little bit of a kind of like an update on where, status at the Hilltop when it comes to, I don't know, reported crimes, if you will. Everything is pretty much on the average of where it should be for this time of the year when it comes to most of our property crimes. We do have a little bit of a statistical aberration in that over the past month, there is an higher than normal reporting of aggravated assaults, which would include felonious assaults, uses of firearms or discharges in the habitations. And it's not really much of a surprise that we start to look at both the numbers and then the concentration of it being in south of Broad Street, north of Sullivan, east of Hague, west of the freeway. That central Hilltop area it is becoming much more in our focus in regards to the amount of aggravated assaults and weapons offenses inside this particular neighborhood. I know that the leadership on the west side, we've been discussing some sorts of ways to start to address this. Again, many of those efforts can't really progress unless we have good working relationships with our citizens. So we always say that if you know something or can relay any information to us, please do. We do appreciate that. Making communities safer is a collaborative team effort between both the police department and the citizens which should live there. Whereas that sounds like terrible news, I don't want to end on that because last night was Beggars Night where a lot of people were out within that central Hilltop area community. I made an effort last evening to make sure that I got out because I wanted to see and experience exactly where our community is at. And there was a lot of families, there was a lot of kids, there was a lot of people out in that particular portion of the neighborhood. And we didn't have any type of major incidences with that. And I think that shows that there's a lot of resilience, and yet at the same time, there's still a lot of pride inside this community. And it's when, we, collaboratively, especially citizens who live there, still take ownership over their public areas and say that we live here, we're not afraid, we're going to continue to deliver our lives. And I think last night was a very good representation of how that happens. And, that is like that first step of making a neighborhood safer. So like I said, I don't want to end on the bad news that yes, we recognize that, violence is up a little bit right now, but at the same time, we still have a vibrant community that we hope we can work hand in hand with to make safer. Any questions about that? So again, like I said, hopefully we can continue to work together to make this better. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for the update about last night. I was going to ask that question. So yeah, thank you. So I don't know if Zach Quinn is here, our zone attorney. I don't see. Zach's pretty busy right now. He may come in a little bit later. So we'll go over to Avery Townsend. She's with City Council and Division of Community Engagement. You say that you're here, Avery. How are you? Welcome. Take your time. Get mic'd up. I know you, Avery.
How about that? Is that close enough?
There you go.
Good.
So lots and lots of hearings. October is the feedback to them. Okay. Lots and lots of hearings in October and November. That continues. I really recommend if you haven't to subscribe to our Gov delivery. We put out meeting dates, advisories pretty much all the time. So you can find that at columbus.gov/council. Today at 5:30, there was a public hearing on the alternative crisis response unit infrastructure, just on the updates and how that worked, what worked this year, what didn't work this year. Tomorrow at 4, there's going to be a public hearing. I should stop touching it. Maybe that would help. I'm gonna have to bring fidgets next time. Tomorrow at 4, there's a public hearing on the 2023 annual action plan. So those are on the 4 housing and urban development grants that we get from the federal government. One of the most familiar being the community development block grant. So that will be hosted by Councilmember Elizabeth Brown tomorrow. And then right after that, that's at 4, right after that, 5:30, there's gonna be a public hearing on mobile food vending and noise. And then you might have heard that we have been having conversations around with public health surrounding flavored tobacco. It has been quite the conversation so far. CPH, Columbus Public Health, has presented City Council with a potential piece of legislation regarding the prohibition of the sale of flavored tobacco. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to email me. We did a town hall. We're doing a series of small business meetings with small business owners. And then there will be a public hearing next week on November 9th at 5 p.m. So there's lots coming. Make sure you check your email, and that's all I have.
You can email me, but does the state of Ohio have currently a law regulating flavored tobaccos?
I don't know about regulating, but banning the sale of, no. Yeah. Thank you.
Just wanted to share that there was kind of a reception for commissioners this week. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I want to say thank you guys for coming. Dan and Leo were there. We just like to do something every year just to say thank you and also to give you a chance to meet area commissioners from around the city, because I know you don't get a lot of opportunities to do that. So we wanted to do something just like easy, low stress, and it was beautiful because it was at the museum. And so I hope anyone that was there got to enjoy the museum on Thursday. So.
Thank you for sharing and thank you for doing it. It was great. Thank you for anyway.
Rachel, are you able to take? Yeah.
David Owick, I see you out there, sir. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Put a button on the top of the box.
Okay. No.
Test.
There you go.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners, audience. David Huey with the Department of Neighborhoods. I am very pleased to introduce you, as I promised last month, to your new neighborhood liaison, Ola BC Eddie. Please stand. The reason I'm saying I'm so pleased is I think she's a great fit for the Hilltop, and she grew up here. She has a lot of experience with area commissions. We just couldn't have stumbled on somebody better to join our already really fantastic team. And I'm going to let her speak for a moment about her background.
Good evening, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, good evening, commissioners, good evening, audience. Yes, I'm Olabisi Eddie. I'm really excited to start as the West Side Neighborhood Liaison. I'm coming to you from Franklin County Public Health. I've had about 5 years of community engagement experience. I grew up right here on the West Side, as David had mentioned. Actually, I used to come to this library after school. I'd walk across the field because I went to St. Mary Magdalene and then later on to Bishop Reedy. So I'm glad to be able to circle back around after, making my way out in the world to be able to serve my, neighborhood, my backyard again. So I look forward to working with all of you. Oh, yes, sorry. I'm currently area commissioner for Southwest Columbus. Thank you so much. I look forward to working with all of you.
So thankfully, I'll stop doing 3 jobs. Not that I don't love you guys, but I'll turn it over to Olabisi next month. Are you guys meeting next month? We're having a business meeting next week. Just a couple of things briefly. The mayor is having AC recognition and budget preview dinner on the 9th of November. We invited all area commission officers. Officers, if you cannot make it, you can assign somebody else to go. We're allowing spots for 4 commissioners per. Turns out to be about 100 people. We're having it in the health department auditorium starting at 5:30 on the 9th. We're also going to recognize for the first time, long overdue, long-serving commissioners that have gone off commissions. And I'm proud to say Jay McAllister will be one of those. I think we're recognizing 10 different commissioners that served for a very long time. So that's going to be part of the event. We're also going to recognize commissions that have significant anniversaries. University turns 50 this year. So
So we turned 40 actually 2 years ago. Last.
I think you guys are on the list. Yes.
Are we?
Yeah.
And also, are Pam Weaver and Jeffrey Phillips on the recognition list too?
They are not, but this is the first shot at it. We wanted to keep it to 10. We hope to do this every year, so we'll listen to your input. This is kind of this is like the Hall of Fame of area commissioners, the ones that are on this list of 10. So yeah, we can consider that in the future for sure. I sent your amended bylaws for publication today. They will be published in the city bulletin November 5th and November 12th. City bulletin comes out on Saturdays only. Your bylaws will be effective December the 5th. Your appointments have been approved by the mayor's office. We have put them up for council agenda. They should be on the agenda November 7 or 14. I agree you guys are meeting November 7 and 14. Yeah. I sent out a training schedule for you guys back in May, an amended training schedule. The mayor doesn't tell us about when he's going to have budget preview dinners. So we had a training schedule for the 9th also. It's the code enforcement and planning training. We're going to reschedule that. So the commissioners will be at the dinner. We had zoning training, which is our most popular training this past Saturday, and our new commissioner training in September. For those new commissioners that want to see the zoning training, or any of the commissioners that want to see the training, it's posted on CBUS area commissions. You can watch the video. I sent out the presentation deck to everyone today. One other item, we're organizing a meeting to discuss our citywide election effort. I know you guys weren't in it, but we'd like all commissions to participate. So I'd like you to appoint a person that would be your representative, probably your elections chair if you have one, to attend that meeting and Dan, if you can let me know who that might be. We want commissions that did not participate to hear what the commissions that did participate think of our effort. I think I talked about it last month a little bit. There were some mistakes made for sure. It didn't go as great as I wanted it to, but we still ended up with 6 out of the 11 commissions having competitive elections, which is a big improvement. The last thing I will pass out here is something that me and the city attorney's office put forth as we've had beginning with COVID. I don't want to end on a negative note, and this is not negative. It's just, I think Melissa may have shared this with you previously, but we've had some behavior issues at commission meetings across the city. And we put this together probably like a year ago for commissioners to use or not use. As far as establishing ground rules for commission meetings and letting people know what's expected. And if this is a professional group of volunteers, and we expect everybody to be respectful and to follow the rules of your organization. So some commissions read this at the beginning of the meetings. Some commissions give it, just hand it to people as they walk in the door. And you can use it or not. It's just a tool. Any questions for me?
David, thank you for bringing this forward. So quickly, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I think that's the only thing I can see.
So I did make an error. I forgot to add to the agenda that Nick Plauk of the City of Columbus and the Envision Hilltop Plan was going to do a larger presentation tonight, but he's going to do that next month. So I took him off the agenda, but then forgot to put him back under the city staff report. So if you have a time slot, if you just want to do any update for us at all about the Envision Hilltop Plan.
I'll be real brief. Admittedly, I just came up here so that I could show off that I've been paying very specific attention to how to set up. Just wanted everybody to be very impressed by that. I really look forward to presenting to everybody at the December meeting. My apologies for not presenting at this meeting, but really looking forward to it. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, but Dana Dorsey accepted a position with PACT. So she's over with PACT doing very similar work, but it's just me over in our planning division right now with the Envision Hilltop Plan in the East. So it's been very busy. But I really look forward to presenting to everyone. I will do one quick plug. 614 Beautiful Grant. It closes on November 4th. So at the end of this week, I believe it's 5 o'clock. I know they're going to hold pretty true to that time. So 5 p.m. on November 4th is when it's going to close. So if anyone is working with anyone or providing any support or, putting forward a submission for that grant program, just keep that in mind. And I'm happy to answer any questions about any of that, or, you can reach out to Lisa Snyder at Neighborhood Design Center as well. Other than that, Envision Hilltop Advisory Committee met last at the end of September. It was the first time that we had done a weekday evening time slot. So I thought that went well. I think we got the opportunity to get some additional folks that have not had opportunity to participate that had shared those concerns. So what we're going to do moving forward is flex back and forth. So it's a bi-monthly meeting once every 2 months. We'll do the Friday from 10 to 12, and then 2 months later, we'll do a weekday. Tuesday, it was either a Tuesday or Wednesday from, I believe, 5:30 to 7 is what the time slot is that we use. So for the time being, that's how we'll move forward. So the folks have the opportunity to attend some of those if you all want. I always include Dan, and I think maybe James as the vice chair, maybe a couple other folks have been included. So Anyone's welcome to attend those. They are open to the public. So I'll continue to do that. And then we may be looking at trying to figure out what a hybrid meeting would look like. I know some folks have expressed the desire to meet in person. I just want to make sure that if we do that, that we're not excluding anyone that can only attend virtually. So figuring out what a hybrid meeting is the most important piece of that component. So taking a look and figuring that out. So as soon as I have an idea of what that will look like, we may attempt that at some point probably. Does anyone have any questions for me? Thank you all so much. I look forward to presenting it this Sunday.
Okay, that concludes our City of Columbus staff report. So this is new. Typically, I have announcements at the end of the meeting, but I'm going to put them up now so that we make sure that any commissioners, do you have any announcements that you would like to share with other commissioners or anybody here or anybody tuning in? Patrick.
Yes, Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday is election day. Please don't forget, polls close at 7:30, I believe, in Columbus. Correct? Yes, great. The other thing I want to mention is I am running for city council. Anyone who wants to talk about that, may do so after this meeting.
So after a long hiatus from doing so, the Westgate Lodge is having another breakfast on Saturday, November 12th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you haven't been, this is an excellent way to get out and mingle with Hilltop folks. It's one of my favorite events ever. Off the top of my head, I forget, it's not expensive at all. So it's very economical for families to come out to have a big breakfast on a Saturday. So I hope everybody comes out. It's the Westgate Lodge over here on, on Broad Street. Oh gosh, I'm turning around. Thank you.
So Commissioner Davis, who's not here tonight, Kayla Davis, wanted to share with everyone that her organization, which is a step in the right direction, is hosting a community event. The Fall Festival will be on November 11th. Shalom Zone will be there, it looks like, and Highland Youth Garden and the YMCA. There'll be opportunities for folks that need utility support to get help. And so please share this with neighbors or community members as you see appropriate. 11/11 at Highland Elementary School. And the time of it, I don't see yet. Let's see here. 4 to 7 on the 11th of November. So Kayla Davis's organization will be present, helping neighbors in the community.
Yeah, Celebrate Hilltop is this Saturday at Westgate Park. Celebrate Hilltop is this Saturday at Saturday Park. Kevin Orr is going to be putting this on. It's going to be a family-friendly event. So if anybody wants to do something this weekend, I would highly recommend going to that.
Any announcements anybody would like to share? Shout it out or I'll hand you the mic either way.
So mine's a bit of an evergreen announcement. I'm Anna Siriano with the, I'm president of the board of the Highland Youth Garden, which is a youth education garden over across from Highland Elementary School. And so kind of my evergreen announcement is that we are always looking for board members who live or work on the hilltop to join us. And so if you are interested in learning more about being a board member with the Highland Youth Garden, you can feel free to contact me at annasiriano@gmail.com. And we're doing a Thanksgiving giveaway. I'm trying to find the date. It is going to be November 19th. So this is kind of it's on a Saturday when we would normally be having our free market. And so we're going to be doing a Thanksgiving giveaway. And from the 15th to the 17th, we'll be collecting donations at 106 South Wheatland, which is where our campus is located.
Hi, I'm Betty James with Hilltop Rise, and we are recruiting for our first executive director. Actually had some screening interviews today, and we'll still be taking applications until 11/11. Just go to our website, hilltoprise.org, and you can download a job description and details on how to apply.
Hello, everyone. I'm Victoria Fry. Just wanted to remind our residents that our Recreations and Parks Department, we have a number of rec and parks facilities on the hilltop and even in Franklinton that offer amazing classes at a low cost for kids and families. Specifically on the at Westgate, they have a homeschool program. Not many people know about. So if you have homeschool children or know of homeschool children that need some programming during the day, some fitness, some tutoring, all those, that's for all students, please feel free to do. I do not work for Columbus Rec and Parks, but I just found that out. I will also be doing yoga at Westgate. So if you are interested in some movement practices, feel free to do that. It's real cheap. I'm not though.
That's all for announcements. Great, I kind of like moving this up, so we had a chance to really hear these and share, because we always run out of time. So thank you. So let's move on to a presentation. We're actually on time. So we have a presentation tonight. The City of Columbus has a Department of the Inspector General now, and the Inspector General, Jacqueline Hendricks, has joined us this evening to talk about her position, her role, her office. I won't steal any more thunder. So I know you have a presentation. We'll tee that up for you. That'll be showing here and let you get mic'd up. So thank you for spending part of your evening with us.
Can you hear me?
Keep talking.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it low. Thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for allowing me to come here and introduce myself and give you a presentation of our office. I want to start off by just acknowledging some of the board members that I do have here, along with my staff. So if we have two of the board members, I just like them to, because you have a very talented board. So I like them to stand up, announce them, and just tell you a little bit about themselves, please.
My name is Mary Younger.
I'm going to bring you a mic if that's okay, because people are watching.
I'm Mary Younger, and just briefly, the Civilian Review Board, you voted for us, the Civilian Review Board, and there are 11 members. Right now, we only have 10 because we need one more. And we have been in effect now for approximately, it'll be 2 years in April. And we have been working very hard. We've been training, going through and making sure that everything's in order, but mostly training until we get so that we can, when we get our cases, we are prepared. We come from very diverse backgrounds. That means ages. We go from 30 till and we are here so that because you wanted us, and we're here to serve the city of Columbus, the citizens of the city of Columbus. And it is to also serve the police department. It isn't here, it really it's here because it works with, it also serves the good officers. It isn't here to pick on police officers because it's just another level of making sure that the justice is served for all, and that's why we're here. And so we're here in the community, so all of you know that we are here and to answer your questions. All right? And, yeah, introduce.
Hi folks, my name is Gambit Aragon. I am also a board member. A little bit about myself. I am not originally from Columbus. I'm actually from California, so I just do this when I just complain all the time, just like I move back and get comfortable. But I'm originally from California. I'm transplant here. I've been here about 10 years. I am very active in my community. I am an organizer with Columbus Community Pride. I have done a lot of activism in my community, and that's why I signed up to actually do this form, to be representative of not just a certain specific population, but to be representative of all of Columbus, and that includes my community as well, as a queer member of this community, and of color too. So that is a little bit about myself. What else were we doing? Questions? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And also, I just wanted to introduce my Deputy Inspector Blunt is with our office. He's here. And also in the back, who will be passing out some literature, is my Community Relations Officer, and that is Gerald Black. Again, thank you so much. And I am the Inspector General for the office. I'm Jacqueline Hendricks, Inspector General for the Department of Inspector General. I just wanted to give you just a brief information about myself, and then I'll go on with the presentation. I have over, and I always say that because it sounds like I'm telling my age, I have over 37 years of experience conducting investigations and criminal justice background. I am a retired Detroit Sergeant with the Detroit Police Department Internal Affairs, retired after 27 years, and then the Department of Inspector General for the City of Detroit, much like Columbus, created a Department of Inspector General. I came to that office in the beginning, and I was there 8 years before I accepted this role. Very honorable, and I'm here to make sure that we serve the citizens of Columbus, and I'm excited to be here. It's such an honor to have been appointed as the first Inspector General here for this. What I want to do is tell you a little bit more about who we are, what we do, how we do it, how to file complaints, what the process is, how to connect to us, and at the end to answer any questions that you have. The Department of Inspector General, much like the Civilian Review Board, was created by the Columbus Charter in 2020. That's how our office was established. Both entities work together to provide oversight for the Division of Police. We investigate allegations of misconduct and excessive use of force. That right there shows a list of some of our board members. But what I'd also like to step out and say is that before our office was created, citizens' complaints were investigated by the Columbus Division of Police. So they no longer conduct those investigations. Those investigations are conducted by our office. I like to always make that announcement because sometimes when I tell people about our office, the first thing they start thinking is, oh my God, are the police academy that know that? No. We just want you to understand that there was an entity that did conduct these investigations. They no longer conduct those. The investigations are conducted by our office. We're totally separate. We're independent of the Columbus Division of Police and the Department of Public Safety. How do we do it? Okay, so we receive complaints from citizens. The complaints that we investigate all go in compliance with the FOP contract and along with the city ordinance. So the investigations that we look into are investigations that have incidents that have occurred within 90 days. So in 90 days of the incident, if you feel that you have had an interaction with the officer, that you feel there's some misconduct or excessive use of force, you're able to file that complaint with our office and we will conduct an investigation. And who can file that complaint? Any citizen can file that complaint. Victim can file the complaint. The complaint can also be filed by the victim's parent, custodial, Or if you are a person that has witnessed an incident where you feel like there was some police misconduct or excessive use of force, and you witnessed it or you heard that, you can actually file that complaint with our office, and we will investigate that complaint. Once you file a complaint with the office, it is investigated. Complaints are investigated within 90 days. So it's always 290 days there. I like to say it's 90 days after the incident has occurred that we have the authority to investigate. And also when the investigation is filed with our office, we have 90 days in which to complete that investigation. For a minute, that's what I was saying. Once the investigations are completed, we provide our investigation findings to the Civilian Review. Again, we are the investigative agency for the Civilian Review Board. I serve at the pleasure of the Civilian Review Board. So once the investigations are conducted and our findings, we turn all of that information over to the Civilian Review Board, what our recommendations are, what our findings are for them to review. If they have additional questions, they're able to do that, but we turn everything over to them. They review our recommendations, and if they concur with our recommendations, then they either agree or disagree, but most of the time based on the facts and information that we will provide to them. I like to say our investigations are fact-based. We are a fact firm. So the investigations that we provide to them have all of that information. We look at police reports, we review body cam, cruiser video, CAD reports, radio reports, 911. All of this information is a part of our investigation, along with the fact of interviewing the complainant, any witnesses, and any officers involved. We provide all of that information together in a report, and that report is presented to the board for them to review. Once the board reviews that report and makes their recommendations, that report is provided to either the Director of Public Safety or it goes to the Chief of Police. What I want to express is that we are not a disciplinary agency. So we do not discipline the officers. What we do is with the investigations that we conduct is we provide our investigation findings to the board. And again, the board provides those investigations to either the Director of Public Safety or the Chief of Police. There are several ways that a citizen can file a complaint. You can do it through the hotline, which is 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can also do it via our email, website. You can walk in person and file a complaint if you want to. You can also mail the complaint in. What we don't allow people to do is just show up at the office, and that's because our investigators are sometimes out in the field. So it's better if you have an investigator that's investigating the complaint and you want some information, definitely contact the investigator, set up an appointment to the office. But we do take walk-ins. Any questions? And I did want to kind of add a little bit more to when we're doing our investigation. So what I tell most people, what I like to just bring out the information is that when we get complaints, it's very, very important that when people file complaints, they give us as much information as possible. There are questions that people ask, can we file a complaint anonymously? Yes, you can. The issue is if you file a complaint anonymously and we're not able to follow up, then what happens is your complaint may be closed because it's just insufficient. So the more information we have, the more accurately we can conduct our investigations. Every complaint that is called into our office, we make it a point to follow up with the complaint. Because sometimes we get complaints and it may not involve police misconduct or excessive use of force. Sometimes people call and we've had calls where people are looking for different information, how to file a report. So I say we like to call everybody and at least provide you some information. So we follow up with everything. The other thing about our office, which I like to say is anytime you have any questions, we're open, we're available. Please make sure the Civilian Review Board meets the first Tuesday of every month. Now, this particular Tuesday, they did not meet, but that meeting was pushed to Thursday. It is open to the public. It's from 2 to 5 if anybody wants to attend. But normally, the Civilian Review Board does meet the first Tuesday hope I covered everything, but if there's any questions, please ask, and I will make sure that I can try to answer. Yes.
So you said for filing a complaint that any citizen, are you using citizen as like a blanket term, or do you mean resident? Can a non-citizen file a complaint?
Yes, any resident can file a complaint and we will investigate that complaint.
That made it more confusing for me. So if I live in California and I wanted to file a complaint, could I do that through this?
Okay, so we only have jurisdiction over.
For sure,
The
But if it
Columbus-
was a Columbus police officer that I was complaining against, but my residency was in California.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
If you had any type of involvement with Columbus.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure it wasn't Columbus residents only.
No,
Thank
no. We just, again, we want to make it clear that we only have jurisdiction to investigate allegations of misconduct or excessive use of force involving Columbus police officers. And we are an administrative agency, so we do not conduct criminal investigations. Our investigations are administrative only.
Are your findings provided in case of a criminal case? So if the federal agency came and wanted to see your findings because they were involved in a criminal case, would they be allowed to see those? Is that open to the public?
Well, because we are a city agency and public, so anyone that does a public record request, that information is available to the public. What I can tell you is if we're conducting an investigation in which we find criminality has occurred, we stop because we cannot conduct a criminal investigation. That investigation immediately would be turned over to a law enforcement agency for them to conduct that investigation.
So if you're investigating an excessive use of force and your office concludes that the officer broke the law, would that mean that you would end the investigation?
So if we were investigating a case where, again, we caught criminality, definitely we would stop and we would be turning that over. But understand that when we do investigations, sometimes officers' actions can be a violation of policy, may not necessarily be a criminal offense. So when we investigate misconduct or excessive use of force, we're looking at whether or not the officer and his actions violated, CPD policy, did it violate city policy, or did it violate?
And so actually, how about a more specific example? So say that a state agency investigated and Ohio Bureau of Investigation, let's say they investigated, they determined that an action was not criminal, would your office then do a follow-up investigation or not?
Yes, if it's, as long as it's an administrative, so there could be a possibility that there is an investigation that's done, that they're looking at an officer's actions and they determine that the action they took was not criminal, then yes, we would look to see if their actions violated a policy or procedure.
But if that investigation took more than 90 days, you would not?
Okay, so I just might need you to clarify, or I can clarify. by
Yeah.
saying-
So I guess my question is, OBI is investigating an officer for potential criminal action. And after 91 days, OBI closes it because they determined that even though use may be excessive, it did not break the law. Would your office then be prohibited from investigating because it's been 91 days?
So what I would tell you, and hopefully this will answer your question, investigations are either filed by citizens or they're initiated by the board. So in that case, if our office is not aware of that investigation and it's not brought to our attention and it comes to someone files the complaint after the 91 days of occurrence, we don't have the authority to investigate that. The board has the authority to initiate investigations. So I hope that answers your question. That's the best way I can kind of answer.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to understand the boundaries of what your office is permitted and is not permitted to do. Did your office have similar boundaries when you were in Detroit?
Well, this office here is bound by the FOP contract, and it's also bound by the charter. So we do know that contracts change. So as long as that's what is in the contract, those are our boundaries along with the charter. Different cities, I would say, wholly different. Because Michigan and Ohio, there are laws for other records.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
So is there a 90-day limit in filing a complaint? Can there be a complaint filed a year later? If you think about the EEOC and how those things roll with the EEOC about filing complaints. Is there a timeline? So is it 90 days? Like if the incident happened today, you have 90 days to file a complaint, or is it just for the investigation? After the complaint is filed, there's 90 days after the investigation.
No, based on what, based on, again, what our boundaries are, and again, a lot of that is in line with what the FOP is. We can investigate incidents that have occurred within 90 days.
Okay.
So if someone files a complaint with our office for something that happened a year ago, we don't have the authority to investigate that.
Okay. And then what's the time frame for coming up with a finding or recommendation? Is it 90 days as well?
We have to complete our investigation within 90 days.
From the time
that we receive the complaint, we have to complete our investigation within.
Yeah, so someone can come and file a complaint in 89 days, you have to investigate.
If they file it in 89, as long as the incident has occurred within that 90-day window. And my investigation, my staff is very diverse, a lot of experience. All of my investigators have over 7 years of investigative experience. So they're not taking 90 days to conduct an investigation, but that is the time.
We do understand that sometimes it does take a couple of months.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I want to tell you is, we are very thorough, fact-based, and there's a lot of information in which we are looking at and investigating and putting together in order to put together a report. And what I always say, with the board is, the board is very talented and they have a role to play. And so our role is to make sure that when we're conducting our investigation, all the evidence, information, interviews, and everything that we have reviewed, we're putting together that package and giving it to the board to make sure that they have all of the information when they're reviewing the investigation to understand what our recommendations are so that they're able to make a decision based on the information that we're presenting to them. This is also the group that, citizens have voted and put in place for us to be able to provide oversight for the division of police. But that's really just trying to build that community trust, because I feel like we all have a role. And the role here is really trying to not only provide oversight for police, but also just making sure that the community also understands the role of what goes on. Because one of the things we do is when we get complaints, is we make it a point to call the citizens, because we have had, give you an example, we've had citizens that file a complaint, and sometimes they just did not understand. One of the cases, I'll say we had a citizen that filed a complaint, and they wanted the officer to pursue this person and arrest them. But the officer just did not have the information. They had the license plate, but just because you have a license plate of the vehicle doesn't mean that you can identify who actually the driver of the vehicle was. And so when we had the chance to call the complaint and just explain that, they understood more, whereas at the time they felt like, look, I gave them this information, I expect them to go and do an investigation. So sometimes it's also providing information so that we can kind of understand each other's role.
One last question. Go ahead.
It'll be the last. It'll have to be. We're gonna have to move on. So
Okay. So do you offer reports, like quarterly reports about the numbers of investigations?
that was my
Those type of things that shows like the past year, or I don't know how you have that.
So what we do is when we're talking with the board is we provide all of that information to the board. So the board is aware of the number of complaints we receive, the complaints we close, the investigations that we conduct, and all of that information is provided to the board.
What about the public?
We don't have that stuff posted on our website, not right now.
Could you?
Could we post it? That's something that, again, because we're still a new agency, we're just really working on. And the thing that I would also say that, be mindful that a lot of allegations we get and investigations that we're conducting, the information is good, and sometimes it does lead to the fact that the officer's actions did violate policy and procedures, but sometimes the investigations that we are conducting are based on the facts and everything does not support what the allegation is. So we just don't want to put information out there that taints an officer's role that's not. So those are things, but anything is available for public records, all of the investigations that we do.
One thing, all of our meetings are public. They are held at the minimum. And watch all meetings that we have. This Thursday, you can watch our meeting live.
Thank you. I was specifically talking about data. So, yes, okay.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you for being here. That was your question, right? That was my question. So thank you very much for being here. Okay, so we're going to move on to reports of our officers. I'll start as our chair. I just have one quick thing I wanted to share that I've been asked to represent our commission as a commissioner. The Columbus zoning code is up for review, right? There's going to be some work that's going to happen over the next couple of years. So I've been asked to be a part of the Columbus Advisory Committee. And so we're going to have an orientation and introduction meeting November 10th for the first time. We'll get an opportunity to all kind of meet each other, understand the task and charter of the group, and then be able to be on that group for, I think, a couple of years. The work's kind of being staged to talk about first our commercial corridors, and then some other things are going to be happening. So I just wanted to share that. Real excited to represent us. So I want to make sure that I'm bringing information from that group when I can and taking information to it. So that would be my report. James, do you have anything?
Just reiterate, please vote next Tuesday. There is a bond package for Rexham Park for, I think, roughly $200 million for Rexham Park. The West Side definitely needs it. I'm going to be advocating for our parks to receive at least some of that money if possible. So please go out and vote. Everybody vote matters, regardless of who you vote for and what you support. So thank you.
Treasurer Sean Maddox.
Yeah, so. That's all. Okay, so we have our monthly report here, first one in a couple of months. So we started with our balance of $300, which was left over from last year that they leave in there for us in case we need it. And we got our deposit this month for $2,500. So we end the month with $2,800. So I'm ready for any receipts you guys may have, or ready to write a check if you have them. That's it. Any questions?
Great. If anybody has any receipts to bring forward, let's try to get those paid in the month of November. You're going to have a 6-month report due. I haven't seen any note of that, but it would be May, June, July, August, September. So expenses through October, pretty easy report. But then if we can get those started in November, that'd be great. Thank you. Secretary, Commissioner Winnie, do you have anything?
No.
Thank you. Okay, so we're moving on. Look at me, 7:28, and at 7:30, we're going to start our reports of committees. So we have 3 zoning cases to review this evening, and I'm going to turn it over to the co-chairs of our zoning committee, Patrick Barnacle and Rachel Winning, and you can call the order of how you'd like to see these presentations happen. If you flip over to the back of the agenda, if you have a paper agenda here, the 3 cases that are listed are noted there. We've also, starting with number 1 at the top, kind of how the order of this is going to go to make sure that we're hearing this case in a timely manner and there's opportunity to ask questions and get input. So take it away.
Mr. Chair, could I request that you have time control on community questions and comments?
I will do that.
Thank you. I would like to limit debate on these just because the zoning applications can take the longest to get through. It's the longest part of our agenda. If you have extensive questions, the best opportunity to discuss them is always at our zoning committee meetings. So those are a great place to have more lengthy discussion. If the full commission wants a more lengthy discussion on any particular issue, I request that you recommit the application to zoning rather than using that time here. That's just a request because zoning is the best place to litigate any lengthy discussions. The FOIA commission is not. So that to save time now and in the future. future, this is going to be my request. This is probably going to be, however, my last meeting as a co-chair, since I will no longer be in the commission in January, and Rachel will. So Rachel's going to be taking over all zoning duties from this point over. She's doing a great co-chair, and I look forward to her hopefully being the zoning chair next commission meeting. So the first application I'd like to call is 1361. Oh, before I call the application, one last note. The city of Columbus passed the Sheets application unanimously at the last city council meeting. So Rachel and I spoke to that, and it passed flying colors. So we are going to get Sheets in Northwestville. All right. So the first application is 1361 Georgesville Road. The applicant here present, great. Summary of the application. This is a special permit is being requested because they are trying to expand their marijuana dispensary to the neighboring parcel. They are just moving, basically taking down a wall, putting offices back there. The dispensary is already in place. They're just, because they're taking on an additional parcel, I think 2 parcels as part of their application, they have to have a special permit. It is not a new place, it is an existing place. The zoning committee passed this unanimously 5-0. Applicant, please speak.
Yeah, come up to the podium and put the mic on, please.
Please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes. No.
Small toggle on top of the box.
How's that? Good. Okay. I brought copies for everybody of the application and
Maybe clip it to your shirt.
Yeah.
Set it on the table.
Yes.
okay, sorry about that. I brought copies of the application, full application, copies if anybody wants those. I can pass them, yeah. We'll pass them around, it'd be awesome. Just take one and go ahead and pass it around. I pretty much would reiterate what Patrick had said, or Mr. Barnacle said, as far as the what we're asking for. We've already got a conditional use permit. It's a medical marijuana dispensary, which has been legal in Ohio for several years now. And basically, the expansion is contained within the footprint of the building. So we're not going outside the building. We're not requesting any additional parking or anything like that. It's not a variance. It's, like I said, a special permit, and it's statutorily required. And I have a representative from Bloom Medicinals, Taya Sherman, here to answer any specific questions about the dispensary itself. I'm here to answer any of the questions you might have on the legal issues involved, but we're requesting a approval of the special permit.
Are there any commissioner questions on the application? Seeing none, are there any community questions about the, or comments about the application? Seeing none, I'm going to move to approve application BZA 22-127 1361 Georgesville Road. Madam Secretary.
Mr. Barnacle.
Yes.
Ms. Bates Fry.
Yes.
Ms. Bruno. Yes. Mr. Dallas.
Yes.
Mr. Fagan.
Yes.
Ms. Kepler.
Yes.
Ms. Kipling.
Yes.
Ms. Klein.
Yes.
Josh Maddox,
Yes.
Sean Maddox,
Yeah.
Mr. Moore,
Abstain.
Mr. Paxton,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mr. White,
Yes.
and Ms. Davis is absent.
All right, you're done with us. So you can now go to the BZA. Or zoning, I don't know.
Right, will you send the approval?
Yes, if you don't get it within 24 hours, please email me or Richard.
Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And don't forget the. The next application to call is GC 22-037, 45 Clarendon Avenue. This is for the brand new daycare center that's going in on 45 Clarendon Avenue. They are requesting two variances from the Graphics Commission. One is for the size of the sign that is going to be written on the side of the building. And the other one is for the placement of the sign that's going to be right over the door facing down. The sign facing the large sign on the side of the building, which exceeds the size, and I believe it also can exceed the height. It prompted one vote against on the application. Otherwise, the full application was voted 5-1, recommended for approval by the zoning committee. There's also feedback generated at the zoning committee regarding some of the specific languages that would be placed on the welcome sign. I look forward to hearing from the applicant.
Thank you. In addition to the two variances listed,
Maybe lower.
we have a variance to allow a second sign on the same elevation as variance 1. Variance 2 would be the area of that initial sign exceeding the allowable square foot. Variance 3 is also an area variance for the welcome sign under the entrance. And the fourth is not a variance, but it's a designation to allow a sign that's not specifically prohibited in the code, but is not comply with provisions of any defined sign. We ran into this with the sheets locations with the hanging projector signs under the canopies. They're not defined in the graphics code in the city of Columbus, nor is this particular welcome sign a defined sign in the code. So it's the fourth provision that basically the Graphics Commission will designate it as such, since it does not comply with defined graphic. I do have some renderings if anybody does wish to see them. Those are sets.
Yeah.
No, not this. This is the next step.
Oh.
Thank
In terms,
I'm sorry.
in terms,
They're pretty, we might maybe move a little, we think it might be coming from just there.
in terms of the verbiage, the architect has not yet provided that, but that will be changed to reflect the culture and the makeup of this area. And once I have that, we'll have Rebecca email that to, I believe it's Leah.
I emailed Rebecca.
Okay.
Said she passed it on.
Leah, she's passed that on and we're still waiting to hear back regarding that. We do feel that this particular location is very special. It is a different type of a architectural design for this area. Across the street are entirely residences. And we wanted to make sure that the particular area was reflective of the type of technology, the type of, I guess, cutting edge education that these folks are going to be able to get at the school location. Some of the graphics is also, we try to be consistent with other similar types of structures around the corner. There's a youth center that has a rather large sign as well. And so we believe that we're trying to comply with the elements of your the local area as well as the types of businesses around it, also complying with the C2P2 types of requirements, the 9 criteria. It is not a commercial development area. We do think that it's very architecturally specific to the type of building that it is. We don't think that this will be a sign that discourages other types of graphics or the types of structures to be built, other businesses to be built. We don't think it's going to be cluttery or create a lot of light. There's not a lot of frontage on the front yard to put a sign in the ground. It just was more appropriate to put it on the side of the building as well. We do think it enhances the architectural design of the building and is reflective of sort of the kind of the direction that the Hilltop area is going to go. With that, I'll take any questions you have.
Are there area commissioner questions?
Yes, I have a question about, you said there are 2 signs?
Correct.
Okay, so there's the sign that has the welcome language words. What is the other?
It's the Hilltop Early Learning Center on the wall.
Okay, there's not a 3rd sign?
No.
Okay, for some reason I thought you were talking about 2 signs that were like the language sign.
No, we just have, there's a total of 2 signs, 4 different types of graphic provisions.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Thank you.
Are there any other commissioner questions or comments?
When is the signage getting installed?
I'm not aware exactly when that's going to take place yet.
Or we'll get an updated draft.
Well, you'll get the words. Yeah. Well, the drawing, actually, this drawing page number 3 will have different words on it. The dimensions will be the same. There's no difference in that. It's just the words will be different.
Great. Thank you.
I'm expecting that tomorrow.
I'm sorry if I missed it. So the welcome sign did get changed to represent different languages?
I
We're
don't
not
know
sure.
what it is being changed to. I expressed some concern. One, that the Spanish was incorrect. So asking that be changed. And then just, I guess, the reasoning behind the inclusion of German and Afrikaans instead of something that's more common like Arabic, Mandarin, you know, any other. Somali was included already, and Spanish was included, English. Yeah.
So my direct question is then, I thought I might have missed when you were talking to Leah about an email. Has the designer decided on what those words are going to look like yet? Or has that been decided or finalized?
It is being decided, and I'm expected to receive a revised drawing with those proposed new words tomorrow.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
Seeing that the design language has not been finalized, I'm going to ask the commission on opinions. Do you want to vote on this tonight, or would you rather table it to hear what the specific sign languages are going to be?
I'd say table it. I think that's too important.
I would agree that that is an important detail.
I would request a conditional approval if that's the case. We'd be happy to agree to whatever words that this committee decides that can be done administratively through email.
I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to move to table to the zoning committee. Second by Ms. Kepler.
I guess you said you don't know the exact timeline. Do you have the rough?
This will delay the project.
Yeah. That's what I worried about.
For the verbiage of. Yeah, why do we, well, just a question. Why do we care about the verbiage of this?
Because I don't want families walking up to this after we've spent millions of dollars on it, looking up at a word that is incorrect because someone didn't take the time to ask a native speaker what the correct.
I fully understand that, but what I'm saying is it's going to delay. How much is it going to cost us if we delay?
I'm not in favor of delaying. I would just like to. I'd like to get that sign as soon as possible.
Right, and so if you, and I would actually amend my motion not to table to zoning, but just to table it back to this area commission rather than to zoning first. There's no reason for me to go back to zoning, but I personally would not want to vote on this without seeing the actual verbiage personally. And because of his graphics, the appearance of the sign matters. And what is on the sign matters.
And for the residents we serve, like inclusivity is huge.
Yes.
And just, I'll make a note that none of the graphics variances or conditionals that we were requesting from the graphics commission are content related, nor can the graphics commission render a decision based upon content. Now, the client is more than happy to do whatever words that this committee believes. They respect your group. We believe that you have a better sense of what the words need to be on this structure than the architect does. They're going to do their best to provide that to you, but in all due respect, we just would like to have a vote from affirmation with conditions, a clean vote or denial as we go to the graphics commission later on this month.
I get what you're saying, and I actually agree with you that we should vote on it, but, you know, we'll vote on your motion first. I think perhaps we could put one person in charge, like we could put Leah in charge of saying it's okay. I know maybe that seems like a lot of responsibility, but you could also consult with other people and you be the person who says it's okay.
Rachel, I'm sorry, is Patrick O'Brien here? Family emergency? They want to see if they can talk with him. Thank you.
I just wanted to say though that it's not really about content so much as there really isn't a proposed look to the sign right now, because what you're showing us is not what it's going to look like. So we're not really able to vote on what it looks like right now, because this isn't what it will look like. So I guess I disagree with this being about content. It's content, but it's also.
I guess my question is on page 3, what is that would be different other than the words on the.
Well, the words are the image.
But in terms of the area will not change. The width, the height, projections, everything about the graphic itself, which the variances we're seeking will not change.
I'm not disagreeing with you on us voting, so I'm gonna move on to our motion, which is to table. Do you still want to make that motion, or would you rather vote on a conditional approval?
I'm gonna stay with my motion, but the next motion I would make would be for conditional approval. So if you would prefer conditional approval, vote no on this motion. Yeah.
The architect. That's what we're.
I'm still stuck on the. I can read you my email that I sent if you'd like to. Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the.
Because this came up at the meeting, and so I wrote, first, bienvenida should be bienvenidos. Feel free to confirm that with a native speaker. Second, I would love to know the reasoning, if any, behind choosing German and Afrikaans as included languages, since I imagine most of the students and families served would be on West Siders. Arabic, Mandarin, Ticabina, Tagalog, or even Portuguese would be much more common. Again, the city may have specific data if you would like to consult to make an informed decision. And I was told that was passed along to the signer. So, I'm sorry, when did you send it? Immediately after the zoning.
Okay, do you have a motion to table?
The motion is to table this application until the next meeting of the full area commission. Mr. Barn.
Yes.
Ms. Bates Fry.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Ms. Bird, no.
No.
Mr. Dallas.
No.
Mr. Fagan.
No.
Ms. Kepler.
Yes.
Ms. Kepler.
I'm gonna go with what she said, because I like the emails.
I Leah voted no, so you're a no. Ms. Klein. No. Josh Maddox.
No.
Sean Maddox.
No.
Mr. Moore.
No.
Josh Paxton,
No.
I'm a no. Mr. White,
No.
and Ms. Davis is absent.
Okay,
That's 3 yeses, 11 no's.
with the motion to table denied, I'm going to make a motion for conditional approval. The condition being that that once the final languages are presented, that a subcommittee of, let's see here, Leah, Commissioner Kifley, and Commissioner Bates Fry agree that the languages are represented for the Hilltop.
Second.
Do they have to be unanimous in their approval?
No, majority.
Okay, you're voting in favor of a subcommittee of Ms. Brudno, Ms. Kifley, Ms. Bates Fry approving by majority revised language. And so we are voting on a conditional approval with their approval of revised language.
Correct.
Mr. Barnacle,
Yes.
Ms. Bates Fry,
Yes.
Ms. Brudno,
Yes.
Mr. Dallas,
Yes.
Mr. Fagan,
Yes.
Ms. Kepler,
Yes.
Ms. Kifley,
Yes.
Ms. Klein,
Yes.
Josh Maddox,
Yes.
Sean Maddox,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Paxton.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. White.
Yes.
14 yeses. 1 absent.
Right, your motion is conditionally approved, assuming that it's conditionally approved. And so with your, when the new languages are given please email Ms. Bruno, who will contact the other commissioners.
You should have it in front of you. Thank you.
All right, the final application is GC 22-036, 3435 Sullivan Avenue, Sullivan School Property LLC. This was recommended for non-approval. The vote was 2 yeses, 3 no, 1 abstention. The issues at zoning were regarding the changeable copy sign for the school, as well as the sign exceeding the height limit on Sullivan Avenue. Those are the 2 variances, traffic commission variances that are being requested. The sign itself, the committee, sorry, there's things being passed around. There are members of the committee who said that their vote could be swayed from a no to yes if the sign was on a timer and can be turned off at night. There were also questions at the committee level about the ability of the sign to fade at night and what technology exists in the sign. However, other committee members, myself being one of them, would not approve even with the sign being turned off at night because the sign exceeds the height limit, does not comply with C2P2 design guidelines because it is not a style sign that is approved by C2P2, as well as the changeable copy sign being annoying. Applicant, you may present. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
My name is Chelsea Kennedy. I'm attorney for Sullivan Avenue Imagine Schools. We're applying for a variance to have a digital sign with automatic changeable copy. This is being requested for a community school, like I said, Imagine Schools at Sullivan Avenue. The sign would state school-related messaging, for example, postings regarding events such as school carnival or parent-teacher conferences. Parents and students and the surrounding community will benefit from easy access to school-related announcements. The variance will also not be injurious to neighboring properties since it will convey school-related material and will promote an additional educational option to local residents and a positive learning environment. The surrounding properties are largely businesses that will not be burdened by the sign. We have confirmed that the sign can be programmed to automatically be turned off at a particular time at night or automatically dimmed at night. And then it can be automatically programmed to turn on again in the morning, which we will do if that assists with a positive recommendation from the area commission for our application. We believe the sign is in line with the purpose of the zoning code, which is to encourage the orderly growth and development of the city. We also believe that the sign is in line with Envision Hilltop, Hilltop's community plan, in that parent engagement is a priority in that plan and that schools should be positioned as community hubs. Also, goals within the community plan include hosting and facilitating community events that build trust and relationships between the school and community, as well as engaging, educating, and informing parents. And we believe our sign will assist with those goals. Thank you for your consideration.
I'm going to limit my sole comment to point out that Highland Elementary, Westgate Elementary, and West Broad Elementary, none of them use changeable copy signs. They all use monument style signs. Monument style signs are the type that are recommended by CGP2. That is in my comments. That is why I can be voting no. Do any other commissioners have any questions or comments?
Are you able to investigate if this sign has the technological capacity to auto turn on and off?
Yes, it
did
does.
say that.
Yep, we can set a specific time and we can do that. Yep, and or it can be automatically dimmed, but it seemed like turning off was the preference of this committee, and we can do that. We can automatically turn it off and automatically turn it back on.
That's right.
Are you, is the school okay with us setting the time that we want the sign to be off? That's the route that we do go, or is there a time window that they said they wanted the sign to be on?
We can certainly take your thoughts at the time in mind. Yes, I mean, we would hope that it wouldn't be too early in the day. There would be a reasonable time frame, perhaps maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock when it gets darker at night.
You know what time it would ideally be on? I don't know what time that school opens. I'm sorry.
That's a good question. The principal of the school, he had to step out. He's here with me today. Yes, I apologize. Early, I would say. So maybe 5 a.m. We could turn it on if it's automatic.
I guess, okay, so I voted no, but said I probably would change my vote if it could be turned off at night. I guess my only concern is that it's totally possible we approve this Gravis Commission variance, but they just leave it on 24 hours a day. I'm not saying that your client would do that, but it's possible because we don't have any way to enforce them to turn it off at night.
Calculation of that.
I don't think we can put limited text in a graphics variance.
I don't know if we can or not either, but the guy from zoning did come and he said that if we wanted this type of condition in here, we could have that
Just write on the recommendation.
Yeah, as part of the conditional approval. Now, if we had this style of conditional approval, I would absolutely request that one of us go to the next next hearing to make sure that the board above us is made well aware of the nature of our objection to that being on all night.
I guess I would suggest sunrise and sunset. Maybe they could program it.
I mean, I personally, if I were to vote yes, which I'm not going to vote yes, but were I to vote yes, I would personally think 7 p.m. 7 a.m. would be fine, because 7 a.m. is usually turns on before morning drop off, and 7 o'clock at night would be after school activities are normally done for the day, and that would also be after nighttime in winter, but it would be not at an annoying hour for the most part.
If I may, I would want to make sure it's on for the morning drop off. So I would ask for it to be earlier than that, please. I would say 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
So it's dimmable automatically and it automatically turns off.
We can make a choice.
So it's one or the other. It's not, okay. So I was gonna say, if you could dim it when it gets dark and then turn it off at 7:30 p.m. or whatever, awesome. Dim it at 5 in the morning and until 6:30, 7. So they don't have any way to, okay.
Actually, let me talk.
Because that would be, if it had some kind of a photogenic type of a sensor that would show, it's dark at 5 soon, or next week or two. So it would, keeping it full blast at 7:30 at night when it's this dark is kind of against what we're trying to get. So if you could dim it.
I believe we can do both.
Yeah, so if you could dim it when it gets dark and then turn it off at 7:30 and dim it at 5 till AM till whatever, it starts getting lighter. I think that would be the
Yes,
ideal.
it looks like I'm looking at the zoning or the instructions that I received from the night sign, which is the sign application. And yes, we could do that. We can dim for a certain time during the daytime and nighttime, and we can turn it off at a certain time.
Did we receive that?
I can pass it out if you'd like.
Yeah. And then what time does drop off start? And what time does pick up?
I apologize. I brought the principal here with me. He had to step out. He had a family emergency. He knew that, he had to step out. I apologize. I don't have that time on me. He would have been able to answer that question. I'm so sorry.
For the, just for clarification, if we're adding limited text to this, would we have to specify that now?
We would
In a vote?
have to specify it at least in the conditional approval on the standardized recommendation form. And then we'd also have to communicate that to the board above us.
I would propose that we make a conditional approval based on the drop-off time, beginning drop-off time for the school. And setting the dimming at
Dimmed from sunrise to dimmed after sunset until sunrise. And off at 7:30 and on and before pickup. I don't know, what's it on time?
Could we stay like 1 hour before?
Yes,
So
great.
it's not an exact time.
Yes, 1 hour before pickup and 1 hour after activities
Just-
close.
we don't
for the
have-
day.
We don't have that exact time at
Yes.
the moment, so.
Yeah.
just say-
What other ages are, what grades are service that you come on?
So sorry.
That's okay, that's all right.
I believe it's an elementary school, but I don't please don't have to take that. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
No, that's fine.
Let's summarize any other commissioner questions, and then I want to see if anybody has any comments. It's here, so we can attend the debate.
Now, we have a motion. Any community questions or comments on the application?
Yeah, just like a quick thought, so I was like checking on the website to see what time drop, if it might be listed there, what time drop off.
I just.
And so it's a breakfast begins 7:45 a.m. just at 2:40. And so it made me think like with that conditional framework of having it be after drop off, there's likely gonna be events that are later in the evening. That's kind of like the point of this. And so I don't know if that language is the best language. An hour after drop off.
Yeah, well, I was saying about the hour, before an hour after, this is elementary.
All right, what is the verbiage of the motion, Rachel?
Okay, I guess it's up to me what I want the motion to be, right?
Yes.
I would make the motion to conditionally approve, or I guess to approve based on the sign being turned on 1 hour before drop-off time, which sounds like it's 6:45 a.m. And being turned off at 7 p.m. Not dim, just off. I'll second.
Just so I can clarify, would it be drop off for that breakfast activity? Is that-
Yeah, so the sign could be turned on at 6:45. Or if the drop-off time changes 1 hour before whatever the drop-off time is. Okay, did someone second? Yeah. I seconded.
I'm
Mr. Barnacle.
No.
I would just like to say, being in education, I know that sometimes there's morning activities before breakfast, so that may not be enough time, but if it's supposed to vote, I'm a vote.
It
And
would be hour before drop off, so there's some, it doesn't.
I get it, so depending on what they define drop off, but anyway, I'll say, because we don't know, the principal's not here. I'm a little hesitant to vote, but what did I want to vote? After saying all that, can you give me what's on the floor again?
The sign will be turned on at 6:45 a.m., which is an hour before drop off time. And it would be turned off at 7 p.m.
That's the condition.
That's the condition.
Yes.
Ms. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Dallas,
No.
Mr. Fagan,
Yes.
Ms. Kepler,
No.
Ms. Kiflay,
Yes.
Ms. Klein,
Yes.
Josh Maddox,
Yes.
Sean Maddox,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Paxton,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mr. White,
Yes.
that's 11 for and 3 against.
If you don't get this back within 24 hours, please email Ms. Lenny. She's a motion maker, so I'm gonna also make her be the one to sign it for.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And the next zoning committee meeting is, sorry, pull on my calendar.
Can we do it on the 29th instead of the 22nd or 21st?
Currently on the 15th.
Oh, okay, 15th.
Yeah, it's scheduled for the 15th.
I thought it would be the 20th.
Nope, third Tuesday of every month, so it's the 15th. Ms. Wenning, which application will we be hearing that day?
So far, we have 2 applications. Have you heard from the taco truck? Did they want to be heard?
Yeah, they wanted to be heard this month. They were, the applicant's representative was on vacation during our zoning committee last month.
And I think that is 2375 West Broad.
Yes.
It's the taco truck. They want to be able to park the taco truck overnight without moving it, which technically is not allowed in the code. So we're going to consider whether we will allow them to park overnight. We also have 1547 Safford Avenue. I can't tell you exactly what that is because I don't have the attachment. Patrick, maybe. I believe those are the only 2 at this point. So there will be at least 2 applications heard on that evening.
So,
Great, thank
There's
you.
a question.
What is the code or what is the application number for the first one? I couldn't find it online.
I'll find it for you. At 235 Clarendon.
I think it took me off.
What's the street address? Because maybe I can just look it up by that.
I think it's, here it is, CV 22-105 dash, or no, that's it.
Okay. And then there's 235 Clarendon will be heard. It's a request from an owner of a single family home who would like to convert his garage into living space.
Chairs of our zoning committee, thank you very much. So we're gonna move on. We're behind here. We're at 8:10. So we have the reports for each of our committees. If you have a report, kind of keep it brief. If you'd just like to tell us when the date of the next meeting is, that would be fine too. So let's start with our Community Relations Committee and our co-chairs, Jenny Kepler and Josh Maddox.
I'll take your cue. Our next meeting is going to be on the 22nd of November at the Design Refinery.
Didn't meet this month. What time will you be meeting?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Great. On to our Government and Legislation Committee report. Our co-chairs are Leah Bredno and Jenny Kepler.
We did not meet this past month. I will only announce that we
are actively seeking nominations for the one appointed seat. That seat will be made officially at the January meeting when our new commissioners take their seats. But we would like all of the nominations to be made at our December meeting. So if any of you or any of your neighbors or you have someone in mind who lives, works, or owns property on the Greater Hilltop, would like to seek one of those nominations, you do need to approach a current sitting commissioner to be officially nominated. Thank you. Our meeting, don't technically have a meeting next month. It is combined with the community relations meeting.
Great, thank you. Under our Human Services and Education Committee, our chair is James White.
Hello, everybody. Our next meeting is going to be November 11th, 16th here at the library at 5:30 p.m. We're going to be discussing action items for next year and what all the committee should be working on. So if you would please come out and attend our meeting, we'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts. But for tonight, we also have Dan sent around a letter that the committee is wanting approval on. I'll pull it up real quick and read it. Columbus City School Facility Master Plan has been placed on hold, but they have identified that this Eakin Elementary School will eventually be demolished and replaced with an empty field. So the letter basically states the Greater Hilltop Area Commission has identified a lack of resources within our community west of Demarest Road. The area is over 2 miles away from the closest library, rec center, and community pool. The commission has also recognized that the police substation for precinct 10 is also landlocked within Big Run and removed from the community. Again, as mentioned in the Columbus City School recommendations, the next segment of facility master plan, said lot will be vacant. It is the committee's recommendation that lot, we're trying to get everybody to the same table from Parks and Rec, schools, police, just to try to start the conversation about what this lot can become rather than just sitting empty. So again, we're just asking for approval to send this letter on behalf of all of us to those people mentioned. Questions, comments, concerns?
So please scroll down again. So the letter is addressed to those 5 entities. This is what the committee proposing, is that correct?
Correct.
And the ask is down at the bottom that you come to a meeting
Yes.
November 16th to continue the conversation about how that can be used. I'm just trying to make sure I understand what
Correct.
what the ask is.
The ask is more or less to have this letter exist within our organized body that we have identified the lack of resources, and we've formally approved the next steps of just trying to get everybody in the same room to start the discussion with a little more oomph behind the letter.
For that specific lot that the
Correct.
elementary school currently is on. Okay.
Correct.
Second.
So
Can I make a very small suggestion?
Yes. Yes.
To maybe specify a specific person in each department or
Yep.
their representative. You know, I mean, obviously we want whoever is most senior decision-making, but it's only a couple weeks away, so we might run into a lot of people not being able to make it.
Correct.
That was gonna be my one point of discussion was for November 16th. It is pretty quick. It's a quick turnaround. I don't think there's the definitive deadline that this meeting would need to occur. Could it be something that we could even postpone until January? It's a long time, but it gets us to the holidays, et cetera. But that would be my
So I'm more than comfortable changing the date to January and then still sending this letter out on a recurrence of every week till then to get a response. If that's, then yes, we can. Yeah, I'm okay with that. The holidays are always a weird time when people can be available. So thank you. I will make that change and again, address it to specific people in the departments to try to get a good turnout.
I think it needs to be a series of meetings, right?
Correct.
You can get people to come November 16th, may as well start the conversation.
Sorry, everybody. This is my first letter I'm trying to get like really approved. So I didn't realize it was going to be so technically difficult.
Gotta get 15 people to agree with you there. Sorry, 8 people. You only need 7.
Yeah. All right, so you put a motion forward to ask the commission to approve this letter. We've had a little bit of discussion. There's been a second. So any other comments, points of discussion? Now we're going to move on to the motion is to leave the letter with the date on it with the recommendation to add some specific numbers and maybe include a sentence over a host of meetings, a series of meetings. To be able to discuss this.
That November, whatever date we have, is the beginning of a series of meetings.
Correct. Typically happen the third, whatever. Cool. Okay.
Mr. Barnacle,
Yes.
Ms. Bates Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Birdno, yes. Mr. Dallas.
Yes.
School. Mr. Fagan,
Yes, thank you.
Kepler,
Yes.
Ms. Kipling. Yes. Ms. Klein. Yes. Josh Maddox,
Yes.
Sean Maddox,
Yeah.
Mr. Moore,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Paxton,
Yes.
and a yes. Mr. White.
Yes.
That's a unanimous yes.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
James did email just really quickly another item for potential discussion tonight. He and I have talked about that. I asked that we not include it on the agenda, but that James actually do a presentation about all the information that he emailed, all of this. It's really about just if you can.
Why don't we just jump to the Parks and Rec? We're going to go out of the guys. So go.
All right, so for Parks and Rec, there were two things. The first one being last month, there was the announcement of the 6-1 beautification grant was announced. The Parks and Rec committee did receive one organization seeking approval, and that was the Hilltop Art Collective. They're working in collaboration with Ava's Taste of the Caribbean. They're going to do a mural on the west side of her building And they're also going to be creating an outdoor space in the empty lot next to her building. So they came in and gave a presentation that I sent around. And they're seeking approval from, or a letter of support from us for their grant application. I typed up briefly, I think like a 2-word letter in favor of support. Again, that this would need a vote of approval. It's all, the lot itself isn't technically owned by Ava. It's still going through, I think, probate. So it's all going to be non-permanent structures such as picnic tables, some lighting, planters, I believe.
You would put the presentation as a conceptual picture.
So this is a lot. That's the wall the mural is going to be on. Does anybody have any like questions?
So just a quick review. Avery did a presentation last meeting about these micro grants, 614beautiful.org. If you're looking for more information, the deadline for the applications is November 4th.
This Friday.
Yeah, this Friday. So, and part of what the applications would like to see is letters of support, right, from the community. So this very specific, sorry if I'm taking over this part of it, but just wanted to make sure we're kind of setting the table here. This is an application. If you go to the website, you can see what's required. You know, it doesn't have to be fully architecturally designed and all of that. It's conceptual, right? Go ahead.
One thing that they did say at the meeting was that the grant money will also be matched.
Yep.
So if this is approved and they do receive grant funding up to $10,000, the money will be matched by
the Hilltop Art Collective.
So that's another thing that they're willing to do to help improve this space.
Question. So who else owns the property currently?
It's I don't know her name, but it's Ava, who's behind Ava's Taste of the Caribbean. She owns the actual restaurant and the building next to hers as well. And she's, I think, first in line or a consideration of the building or the empty lot next to her. It just has to completely go through probate because of the whole owner passed away. It's in a trust. It's a mess, but they're working through it. And the son of the deceased has made verbal confirmation that like he's okay with her using the space. So again, the mural will be actually installed on her building, and anything that will be in the actual empty lot will be moved if need be.
If this is approved by the city and then the deal does not go through, what occurs then? The grant doesn't get.
So you're saying if they don't receive the grant?
Well, it's for, the grant is for a project that is not currently owned by the person who is applying for the grant, correct?
So if they receive the grant and go through with this, since everything is movable, so like the tables, the lighting, and everything, we did hold a discussion with the Hilltop Arts Collective that a lot of these fixtures could move around to other spots as well. So let's say like, you know, all of this is installed day one, but then something switches with that land down the road. These tables, lighting, planters could move to other food trucks or other spots, open spaces for the public to use. There were discussions on, I think it was Oakley and Broad, where a new mural was made, and you know, adding some seating there or something to really activate the space. There was that discussion to, you know, kind of just spread the love if something does fall through. So there is the thought of a backup plan, but it's just, but it does seem like legally, Ava does have the, it seems like she has like the first, right.
Dibs on the location. Yeah, I gotcha. So for comfort, just to help my understanding of this is actually for the materials that would go into the space, correct?
Correct. It'll pay for the mural, it'll pay for the benches, it'll pay for the lighting and the planters, if that's what they're gonna do.
Okay.
And those would be moved, because like the contingency plan that we came up with is they receive the grant, they do the mural, they still purchase the picnic tables, they'll be branded with Ava's Taste of the Caribbean, and they will be donated to other businesses like Sideswipe or the food truck that's on West Broad, as a way to support other local businesses who have outdoor seating that can accommodate those items.
And this will all be taken care of by the Arts Collective.
Correct.
Gotcha.
They have a contingency plan of actually paying for a storage facility in the event that that does happen, whether it's before they even get the stuff to actually put it on the lot, or the stuff has been there for a minute and they need to move it.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions?
They get to keep the mural.
Correct. The mural will stay. Need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the
This
Letter of
letter of support.
Yes.
Mr. Barnacle?
Yes.
Ms. Davis Frye? Yes. Ms. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Dallas?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Kepler?
Yes.
Ms. Kepler? Yes. Ms. Klein? Josh Maddox?
Yes.
Sean Maddox?
Yeah.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Paxton?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. White?
Yes. Yes, so to round back what Dan was talking about, the larger letter that I sent around that briefly discussed a 25-acre landscape improvement project that is being tabled until December. What it is a fever dream of mine to more or less replace all the non-native turf grass in the hilltop with more native plants to help our bee and butterfly population. This will be replacing and updating the landscape in our medians, exit ramps, on ramps, just about any space that you can pretty much imagine goes unmowed for quite a while, with the first phase of the project being the I-270 West Broad, Georgesville Road area. I know the casino has recently announced plans to invest $100 million into a hotel. I think it's far beyond time that we make the same commitment to invest in the landscape around it, to kind of show that there's more going on in that area than overgrown grass. So if you'd like to discuss that more, we're going to be talking about it at the Parks and Rec meeting, which will be at the end of this month, in conjunction with liquor permit, which will be that last Monday of the month.
28th at 6 p.m.
Here at the library. Now.
We'll move on to planning for the economic development. So we're going to move on to our planning and economic development report. Our co-chairs Simon Dallas and Victoria Klein.
Thank you, Chairman. So this past meeting, we met to discuss the Columbus Land Bank is putting before the area commission vacant lots and unsold parcels of property for the area commission to approve or disapprove for the sale to home builders and developers. There has not been a formalized process yet. We are working on what that looks like. So I have shared with the area commissioners and the chairman sent out physical copies regarding the questionnaire that we are proposing to give to home builders before they actually attend the Greater Hilltop, the Planning and Economic Subcommittee meetings. The process that we are planning on implementing will be very similar to zoning. However, we have not formally adopted any sort of process yet, and we are going to continue this conversation at our next meeting, which is next Thursday.
May I have your attention, please? The library will be closing in 30 minutes. Please use this time to check out materials and to print to save your documents. If you need to call for a ride home, please do so now. The library will be closing at 9 p.m.
Next Thursday, November 10th at 5:30 at the library. So we will, as I said, be continuing this discussion there. And I would encourage anybody who didn't make our last meeting to attend that meeting as well.
Great. Thank you. So I've jumped all around here. Let's go back to our liquor permit review committee. Report on from our chair, Rich Winning.
As we just announced, we're going to have a joint meeting with Rec and Parks 28th at 6 p.m. here at the library. This month we did not have a meeting, but we did have some discussion about the application that I asked people to give input on, discussion between me and Mr. White, because Mr. White pointed out that people do park on the sidewalk in front of that market quite often. And so I communicated that to Mr. White. And that's all I have for liquor.
And our final committee report is public safety, and our co-chairs, Hannah and Malik.
Yes. So we, in addition to the public safety meeting we had Saturday, we partnered with the Franklin County Municipal Court Probation Services to collect tires from the alleys in Hilltop. We collected over 800 tires. Linden collected 500. My goal was to make sure we beat Linden, and we did. Yeah. It was the first one I participated in, and I think we kind of have a formula now. So moving forward, we could be more efficient with it. And then we also had a meeting that same day. We had our meeting, and Avery was able to join us, and we shared some good insight. Today, we have 145 surveys in. So with the survey data, what we're going to be able to do now is begin to see where we have hotspots of people that are engaged in their communities or organizations, and then working to strategically create a map where in our perfect world, we won't duplicate services. So one of the things I saw Saturday while we were going around is there was a church giving out free clothes to folks. And a lot of folks left that event with clothes, but then what I found out later is these bags of clothes were left in the alleys where we collected tires because folks were unhoused. And as nice as a gift these clothes were, it wasn't their most urgent need. And so our hope is that we can begin to understand where need is and work with community partners, churches, the organizations that are here to strategically make sure we have, I'll say, beacons of hope throughout all of the different neighborhoods in Hilltop. And so right now what we have is 145 surveys turned in. What we're gonna do from there is collect that data and make an action plan. But you kind of get the gist of how we're moving forward. And I just wanted to share that with the community and the rest of the commission. And so if you have any questions, please let me or Hannah know. So that's what we have.
When's your next meeting?
I'm sorry, our next meeting is the 26th, and it'll be here from 10 to 11:30, the 26th of this month.
Great, thank you for your report. Okay, that concludes, unless I've missed anything, all of our reports of committees. I don't have anything listed as unfinished business and nothing for new business. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
That's it.
Thank you for being here tonight.